NXT diva, Alexa Bliss. She's tearing it up here in WWE for NXT. Alexa, you've been in bodybuilding for a long time. What was it like for you? How did you get involved with bodybuilding? How long has it been going for you and participating in big events like the Arnold Classic?
Well, I got into bodybuilding after transitioning from college cheerleading. I wanted to stay active. I had struggled with an eating disorder, so it was a way to gain weight in a healthy way and to get my body back in the shape that it was functional and healthy. So I ended up competing and I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with the lifestyle and the competitiveness, and it was so fun. And I was competing and I saw that there was a diva search for WWE, and I'd watched WWE my whole life growing up. Like my family, it's always been a big thing with our family, and I actually made a video and sent it in on WWE.com, and I was called back for a tryout, and now I'm here living the dream.
Being that you had a little bit of struggles with eating disorder, what advice do you give to people and women, girls, trying to overcome something like that?
The advice I would give to any girls going through anything or trying to overcome anything such as an eating disorder or any insecurity is that girls are beautiful in their own way. There's nothing that can make you feel that you aren't worth everything. You are not worth a number on a scale, and perfect comes in every shape, size. Everybody is. It's become something that I've learned that it's okay to love yourself and okay to like who you are.
When you were competing, how did all of that come to you? Because now everybody is looking at you and they're seeing how you've developed your body and all for these competitions. What kind of thrill, what kind of joy did that bring to you when you were able to succeed in what your goals were?
It brought a very good feeling because it was like people were looking at me for looking healthy instead of looking at me thinking that I looked sick. And so it was just it was amazing to see the hard work that was put into it and the mind struggle, and to have people look at me and say, you look healthy, and they're happy for me, and I was happy for me. And it was something that I wouldn't trade any of it because it's made me who I am today, and it was a great thing that happened in my life. The bodybuilding stuff was.
Are you still, I know this is like a full-time job here, but do you still get the chance to do any bodybuilding competitions?
I don't, unfortunately, but honestly, I don't think I would want to because I love this so much.
When you had to make the transition and come in here, you talked about the video, you sent the video in, so it was almost like an open tryout, so to speak.
Yes.
When you got the call back, what was that moment like for you and your family?
It was total shock. My family, I called them and they were in shock. I cried, they cried, and it was so amazing because my whole life, me and my cousins played wrestling. We had this blow-up pole that was empty, and we used it as like a ring, and we'd all play and like wrestle in there, and I had the claw move, and you know, it was a good time. And my family, wrestling was a big deal, and so when I called them and told them I was like, I'm gonna be a wrestler, like everyone was shocked because I grew up a tomboy, but I ended up being super girly, and my grandmother, I remember her saying, out of all the grandchildren, you a wrestler? I was like,
That's an awesome moment too and all, because you mentioned you did gymnastics, softball. Did you do any kickboxing?
I did competitive kickboxing for a little bit. That was fun.
You're doing you do a lot of physical activities when you're young. Then you turn to cheerleading.
Yes.
So you get into cheerleading, which is, I don't know, was it a travel cheerleading or just a school cheerleading? Was it a competition cheerleading or just school cheerleading?
I did all-star cheer, which is competition, and high school and college D1 cheerleading.
Because that competition cheerleading is no picnic in itself. There's a lot of training.
Oh, yeah. There's
a lot of physicality that goes involved with that. What was it like getting into that sport, that discipline?
Oh, that discipline was actually good for me because I was in the gym almost 30 hours a week. After school, it became my life, and that's where I learned to get my competitive edge and became very driven, and it's actually helped me a lot here.
Did the cheerleading, you mentioned it, how it helped you, but did the cheerleading, was that something now? Do you miss the cheerleading at all, or that you had its time and now it's something else?
I do miss it. I miss competing. I miss the people I cheered with, but honestly, I feel like it's a chapter in my book that's been closed, and that's how I see a lot of the opportunities that I've had with competing and bodybuilding. That's a chapter in my life that is closed, and now this is the chapter that I'm living and loving. And so, yeah, it was fun, but I'm ready for this.
What do friends think when Alexa Bliss, NXT diva, what do they think of that, and just how fun and how cool is it?
Oh my goodness, I actually have my best friend Kaylin, who always calls me, and after every one of my matches she watches, she goes, "Okay, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm okay, I promise." And she's such a good friend, and she supports everything that I do, and she just thinks it's awesome, and she brags about me at home, back home to all my friends, and it's really cool because it's something that a lot of people didn't expect me to do, because I am one of the smaller. I am a smaller person.
Sure, you're about 5'1", am I right?
5'1", we'll go with that. And on a good hair day, I'm 5'1". And so when people looked at me, especially back home, they were like, wrestling? And I was just like, yeah, I can do it. Got the muscle for it, come on.
But see, that's the thing, because you look at some of the wrestlers, such as like Rey Mysterio Jr., and they may not be the biggest. Sin Cara, even another one, and they're able to go out there, perform, compete, wrestle, put on a good show. How does that, or does that, help someone like you, being that you're 5'1", that you're like, okay, I can do this? Does it help having examples of people like that to do it?
I actually study a lot of Rey Mysterio stuff. I love his work. I am a total fan of the smaller person, because that's what I face every day in the ring, and so I study them and Sin Cara, and I try to emulate the same kind of moves that they do, because if you can't be bigger than them, you can definitely be quicker. You can flip around and do all that jazz.